Hello, everybody. It is Renee and Dee, and we are broadcasting about game time this week. So that's right. So I got to go to a Las Vegas Knights and actually against the Sharks, which is my hometown team. And I went to the stadium and I was on protocol, and it really wasn't that hard, but I had my head in the game, which, Dee and I both know if you don't have your head in the game, it's like tough. So I took my peanut butter bar, but I wish that I had had a room full of all of the appetizers that we're going to be talking about on today's show. So hi, Dee, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I want to be where you live, though. We did have snow in the night, started early last night. We were at -5 this morning, which is really mild for winter, but it's early. It's really early, and 3 hours west of us, Calgary just got annihilated by a storm that basically 250 recorded accidents. They're sending snowplows and sanders from all over the province to go help them out. So
wow,
your lovely summer clothes and your beautiful tan and your beautiful yellow room, I want to be where you are.
Yes, so I am broadcasting today from Palm Desert area down in Palm Springs, and we do a lot of facilitating and working with snowbirds here. And then Dee is always broadcasting from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, and she works at Red Cliff Pharmasave there, where she is a coach, and her owner, Melissa Hozak, is a great supporter of our show and a wonderful person. So if you guys are just getting on this broadcast, first of all, I want you to hit the share button. The more shares we have, the more we put out this information and share it to everybody and give them great ideas on how to be low carb. And if you're on ideal protein, then how to, enjoy this stuff during phase 1. And this is always going to transfer over into maintenance. Okay, Dee, let's just talk about a couple of tips that you have for when people are in phase 1 and we're trying to lose weight, or whatever kind of program you're on. You're trying to lose weight and it is game season. And right now, especially, we've got baseball going into the playoffs. We got hockey just starting, football just starting, basketball's kind of in the middle. Tell us some of your tips.
Well, there is a lot of good to be. We got feedback.
That's okay. Just keep going. Yeah.
There is a lot of great food that can still be enjoyed when you are in phase 1. And the biggest thing is you're just going to have to do a little bit of mindful thinking about what that's going to look like. The beautiful thing about phase 1 is there are so many unlimited veggies that you can put to really good use for dips and spreads and for trays that you can actually be snacking all day and stay within protocol. So we want to teach you how to do that and how to enjoy it and not feel like you're being left out. And then if you have company or you're hosting, the food that you're going to present does not look like you're on a low carb, low sugar, or any type of a diet program. So one of the nice things about low carb, low sugar is you don't have to be on a weight reduction program. It's just everyday, healthy food. So we want to make it look like that, but we're going to share a few ideas that can help you achieve that kind of in a sneaky way. And I'll give you a few pointers on then if you are able to enjoy healthy fats, how we can spruce some of those really low fat options up as well.
That's awesome. If you are watching this live or even in the replay, tell us where you're from. Tell us what city you live in. Tell us, are you on phase 1? Are you in maintenance? Tell us where you're at. And also, would you please push the like button, the heart button, and give us your feedback. Tell us what you're enjoying about our shows. Okay, so let's talk about, Dee's made some incredible recipes. and they look just totally amazing. So wouldn't you like to bring this platter to a party that you are going to and have the freedom to eat it and enjoy it and not feel deprived and not feel like, oh gosh, everybody else is, drinking beer and, having nachos and I'm over here with my celery sticks. Can you tell us about this?
So I was really excited about this platter for many reasons. And so if you are on a say something like Ideal Protein, you can't have things like chicken wings, you can have chicken, but you can't have the wings. And it's because they're full of fat. An actual chicken wing has more fat on it than it does chicken. And it also where a lot of the weight comes if you were to weigh something like chicken wings. And so I am not shy to remove the fat from the actual little wings. It comes off really easily. You slice down the fattiest part and then you just roll a really sharp knife across it and all the fat comes off. So you're just left with a little wing. Now you can have that little white meat that's on those wings or those tiny little drums. And I've even gone through to the trouble of weighing that meat for you. So for example, on a little tiny skinless chicken wing, you're going to get from 0.1 to 0.2 grams of protein per wing. And on a drum, 0.2 to 0.3 grams of protein. So you can eat a lot of little chicken wings and be way under protein requirement for the day or still have a lot to spread around. So it's a really fun way. And then I really enjoyed making a cauliflower buffalo dip to go with them. So in place of, when wings are served in pubs or restaurants or when people bake them at home, you often see ranch dips, blue cheese dips, all kinds of people are dipping their wings in things. And so this cauliflower buffalo dip, it's smooth, it's creamy, it has a ton of zing. Use some Frank's hot sauce and garlic and apple cider vinegar and paprika and salt and pepper. And so in place of the skin, you dip it in our cauli buffalo sauce and you have a tasty, tasty, tasty treat. So the platter that you see there, if you were, say, doing phase 1 through 3, that is 2 ounces of protein, 1 unrestricted package of the herb and garlic chips, and unlimited celery and cucumbers. And that's that entire platter. So it's going to take you a little while to eat and enjoy that. And then so it's also something you could put out for company. Now, if you had company and you wanted to say add some cheese to that cauli buffalo dip, then go for it. Cream cheese, grated sharp cheese, anything would be equally as fantastic. It's nice and smooth. So just a really fun way. If you're willing to put just a little bit of extra work into your presentation, then I would totally recommend doing something like this. And you simply just roast your cauliflower with some garlic and then blend all the ingredients together. And that's how easy it is to make a really zippy, tasty dip.
These are such great options, and I mean it's just really a gorgeous platter, super simple, and we all have to enjoy where we're at on our journey, and one of the things that I am a huge proponent of is we have to change our lifestyle permanently. Otherwise, we go back to eating all those chips and things that didn't work for us before, and then boom, we're back to where we started and we feel shameful and disappointed in ourselves. And some of the things that I work on, certainly on my Facebook page, is giving tips on all of that. And Dee and I have some great videos over there also on that stuff, on just coaching. So let's, if you're just on, tell us where you're from. Tell us what phase you're in. Are you in phase 1, 2, 3? Are you in maintenance? Where are you at on your journey? Tell us if you have certain kinds of recipes that you would like Dee to recreate. There's something specific that you really love about game time and about this time of year, and she will do her best to make it amazing. Okay, so let's see what we got coming up next here. Ah, there we go. Wow, that looks amazing. Okay, Dee.
Trying to tell it's the same theme for what I was using as a dipping tools, more so just for presentation. Other than you wouldn't have to pick the exact same things, but this is a baked hot crab dip. And crab dip you can add whatever your heart desires to crab, and it's really hard to make crab taste bad. And you can use canned or fresh crab, it does not matter. This one has diced fennel and green onion, a little bit of amazing mayo. I know that many of you really don't care for products such as those, but when you jazz them up with dry mustard and garlic and salt and pepper, and you roast and you bake things and you let all the flavors marry together, it actually is a great vehicle to smooth out your dips. And so again, this is just 3 ounces of crab. It does have a full half a cup of veggie in there. Amazing mayo, you do count as a sweetener, but other than that, another example of that is just not even a half a bag of some IP chips that you see put on this side there. You can split those up during the day as well. So another example, so between the last plate that you saw and this plate, you're now at a total of 5 ounces of protein for the day. So, and you can still do a lot more snacking. So just wanted to really give today's theme, obviously, I have a lot of dippy things, a lot of scoopable dippy things. And then next week, I'm going to give you some different options. But crab dips, shrimp dips, shrimp dips, salmon dips, all those types of nice, warm, hot, satisfying dips are a great vehicle for unlimited veggies to scoop and enjoy. It's an easy way to get those veggies in too. And especially if you have anybody who lives in your house or even friends coming over that need to get their veggies in, well, then you help them do that.
That's right. You can. This is like being an ambassador to good health.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I want you to talk about, Dee, is why do we not use imitation crab?
Imitation crab is exactly that, and it's chock full of fillers and sugar. And so if we had a pack in front of us, in the very first ingredients, we could flag the, you've probably all seen the graphics, 50 names for sugar, and imitation crab is full of sugar. Many of them have stabilizers that contain gluten, other not necessary things in your fish. And so anytime it's imitation, it's also lower quality fish and protein smushed together for a replacement. And that's a really common thing that we actually should talk about. Anything that says imitation, just put it back. Just put it back. It's low quality, very often very processed, and it's going to have less nutrition in it as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mm-hmm. All righty. So if you're just jumping on here, tell us where you're from. We have a few people, and Patty says hello from Holdridge, Nebraska on phase 1. That's awesome, Patty. Thank you for joining us. And if you want these recipes, they are going to come to you a little bit later today. But all you have to do is type in the word recipe in the comments section, and they will be sent to your Facebook Messenger. Mm-hmm. So, all right, Dee, moving on. So we've got 6 fantastic recipes today. And this guy here, so we've got some, I noticed you put 2 beautiful, gorgeous salsas on here.
Mm-hmm. So this is a fresh salsa, more a traditional version of salsa. So when I can salsa, and it is my mom's recipe that is shared from, I do think it's shared from an auntie, but it's a really great recipe. However, in that process, it's canned, it's cooked. We don't want to caramelize our onions, those types of things. Might release a little bit more sugar than we're looking for when we're on a reduced sugar plan. So when you make a fresh salsa, you don't have to worry about that. You are allowed to have those onions uncooked and raw. They add a lot of zip. They add a lot of flavor. And a great thing about making fresh salsa is I gave examples on how you could do your different amounts of veggies, but you don't need to actually stick to that. You can do your favorites. You could add more or less. Maybe you don't enjoy onions as much, but you enjoy peppers or celery or tomatoes. Maybe you want some parsley. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like a little bit of cilantro in your fresh salsa. Maybe you don't. You can add your heat or leave it really mild. You could squeeze fresh lemon or lime or leave it off. There's not a right or wrong, but this is just an example of how you can make a fresh salsa. And what I like about this as well is raw celery and your raw onions. Again, you move into the unlimited kind of, not, sorry, the celery, but you don't have to count it. So, if you know you're going to do a half a cup of tomato and a half a cup of pepper, you got to count that. You got to journal your occasional, you're going to journal your select. But those freebies, you still journal them, but they're actually a freebie. So you can add that in there too. Your herbs are a freebie. Track your lemon or lime juice. Hot sauce is usually a freebie as well. Watch your labels. Buy ones with no sugar and carbs. Read your ingredients. You should just see things like cayenne pepper, water, citric acid. If you see citric acid, that's okay. It's a stabilizer, but there's no sugar or carbs in it. So great, really clean ingredients. Go for it. And then again, I didn't put this one on a platter. You'll see it on a platter a little later. But what I like about fresh salsa is fantastic topping for salads, for meat, for fish, for lettuce cups, almost anywhere. I wish I had some pretty little lettuce boats to show you, but you can add this to literally any of your food for bulk, filler, taste, or zing. So it's really simple. You can make really big batches of it, or just little fresh batches, depending on your week, your weekend, what your day looks like. Really easy to share. So
yeah, and easy to keep in the fridge, so you can always be putting it on things. Lorraine says, I can put that on my flank steak. Yeah, it's all your unlimited veggies. They're all raw. You can absolutely enjoy it. Now, I guess the tomatoes are not unlimited, so you can have on your occasional veggies, you can have up to like 4 cups a week combined of that list. So you have to watch the tomatoes. And Dee, can you talk a little bit about why we limit some of the select veggies, the occasional veggies?
Yes, there is a lot of natural occurring sugar in some of the protocol veggies that are allowed, but that is why they are on the occasional list. And if you overconsume those veggies, it can pull you out of your fat burn. It can pull you out of ketosis. I know people say, what? Like it's a little bit of extra vegetable, but that extra vegetable has natural occurring sugars, and it does affect your glycemic index and how your body responds. So also, again, we talk about this a lot, but if you're eating a little bit too much extra all throughout your day, then it can create hunger because you're getting a little bit too much of a glycemic response. So we want to avoid that. So occasional vegetables and tomatoes are included in that. It is maximum 4 cups per week. So when you use them, track them, plan where you're going to spend them before the week happens. If you can, if you have a pretty good idea of what your week's going to look like or what you're going to want it to look like, plan where you're going to enjoy them. The nice thing in this particular bowl that you see, there's just a half a cup of tomato in there. So, I mean, if tomatoes were going to be your occasional for that week, because if it's something that you really love, you still have 3.5 cups available for your use. I think the next graphic we're going to see too, I just want to talk about this a little bit too, because I didn't do it, but I will do it to show you. I actually make a vegetable salsa that is all unlimited veggies. There's no select or occasional veggies in it. It uses mushrooms and radishes and celery and cucumbers and things like that. And I love making big batches of this because it's a 100% freebie, and everything that we just talked about where you can use it like the salsa, you can use it too. So
what graphic are you wanting to come up next? Because the platter came up next.
So
I probably should have put that at the end.
That's okay. The Pico de Gallo.
Okay, Pico de Gallo is coming next. Okay, there we go.
Nope, back. You were.
Oh, oops. My mouse died, and so I'm using my finger.
Okay.
It doesn't always work.
So, most of you have seen fresh Pico de Gallo. Many versions out there again, depending on which restaurant you may be eating in, which maybe your grocers may have fresh versions as well. I have seen in grocery stores many phase one acceptable Pico de Gallos. It's literally just your veggies and your herbs and a little bit of fresh lime juice, salt and pepper, those types of things. Check your containers. If you don't want to do the work of chopping it all your own, then just be willing to read your ingredient list and make sure you truly understand what you're eating and what you're enjoying. This one, again, you can really control the heat of something like pico. This one, excellent on any type of fish and chicken for that as well, but really, really great on fish. You can cook it as you know how you've probably all seen a lot of like fruit salsas. Well, tomato salsas are great for baking or finishing off on raw dishes. You can dip in your low carb chips. You can do your veggies again, scoop it up with your veggies again. So another one that just has a wide variety of use in a wide variety of places. Say that you had all these dips out on a day when you were entertaining and you have some left over. No worry. You can throw all these extras into a pot with a little bit of ground beef, chicken, pork, whatever you like. Do a crock pot stew, make some great pasta sauce, those types of things. And there's not a wrong place. They won't go to waste. So
Exactly. I love that. You know, just one of the things I love that Dee does is Dee has a big family, so she's very, very conscious of budget. And I know that for a lot of clients coming onto a new program where you are eating 4 cups of veggies a day, you haven't really invested in that kind of food before, and it seems overwhelming, but actually I have to say there is never a client that comes to me later and says, I spend more money eating the way I do now with my 4 cups of veggies and my protein and my meals from Ideal Protein. I've never had anybody say, you know, now that I don't drink my wine, I don't go to the convenience store, I don't go to the vending machine, I don't go to Starbucks, you know. And so just really incorporating all of these tasty things. So try them. And Dee's always great about that. And maybe Dee will take us on a grocery shopping tour one of these days.
I would love to partner with my local butcher at where I usually buy my most meat.
Yes.
He knows me by name, and he is a sweetie because if he sees me coming, he'll actually come out from behind the glass and tell me what's on sale. And because he knows that I buy in bulk. Now, one thing about being conscious of budget, I will tell you, I'll be really honest with you, I spend a lot of money on groceries because I believe it's very important for my kids to have that. So some of you might roll your eyes, and there is not a right or wrong answer here, but I'll just tell you these. You know, I cut my own hair. I don't get my nails done. I do my makeup. I can't give that up. So I don't generally go ever through a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks drive-through on a regular basis. I'm not willing to spend that money on a cup of coffee when I can buy an entire day of vegetables, you know, for myself or for half of my family for that same price. And so we do need to put some thought and effort into sometimes on what we're willing just to put on the back burner for a little while, or start saving some of those expenses for a special treat. And so maybe, you know, that Starbucks Doppio coffee becomes a special treat instead of an everyday, because you can make, you know, an entire week's worth, you know, you can make 7 pots of coffee for the same price, you know, as one drive-through coffee. So if you do have to start being budget conscious, we can help you. We can really try to give you some ideas. And, you know, sometimes when we make suggestions, you know, of where places where we can cut things, it's not always what we want to hear. Or, you know.
Yeah. I know. You know, it was funny because I'm on day 8 of my reset, which is like really big for me. If you follow me over on my personal or my business page, you'll know that I've had a lot of challenges this year just doing my reset. So I called myself a serial resetter, I think, or no, a reset addict. But anyway, one of the things I did every single day is I went and I went to Starbucks, and I was like, I mean, really, what difference does it make if I have my, I don't even drink coffee. I mean, I don't have caffeine. So I like the flavor of coffee. So it's a decaf Americano, but I always put some heavy cream in it. And it was killing me, and it's gone, and I feel better. And day 7, I don't even care about it. But it did, it took me a couple days to get over it. Okay, Dee, as always, we're always, rushing down the road with time. So tell us about this.
So this is a hot taco dip is really basically how I like to sum this one up. I think you could call it many things, but it incorporates actually that fresh salsa that you had seen earlier. And so this one uses, this particular batch had 4 ounces of ground beef. We're going to talk about that in a second as well, lean ground beef. And it has a little bit of amazing mayo, the fresh salsa, roasted garlic, salt, pepper, a little bit. You can put paprika or not. This one I actually used the cheese packet from the IP mac and cheese to smooth it out with the amazing mayo. And when you bake it, it's really delicious. The rich cheese flavor comes out. You could chuck in those macaronis into there as well, or just save them and have them in some broth or something a little bit later. But if you do use the cheese, please use the other side of the packet that day as well. Of course, for anybody in maintenance or phase 4, you could incorporate real cheese into a hot taco beef dip such as this. You could use chicken, you could use turkey, you don't have to use beef. I just use beef because that's just what I happen to have. I had a great big tray of it to use up, and unfortunately I was going to do a quick live because I had prepared my beef the night before, and I wanted to show you how you actually remove the fat off of even extra lean ground beef. So when we use items such as beef, ground beef in recipes, I know a lot of coaches, a lot of dieters get nervous because they said, oh, it's red meat, it has, it has a lot of fat. If you don't have any trouble digesting red meat, don't be scared of items like ground beef, especially in big club packs where you can get a better bang for your buck. I call dry scramble frying. So because even extra lean ground beef has quite a good amount of fat, you don't need anything to work it down, break it down, and cook it into nice little bits in your pan. However, you can drain off the fat, and if you feel like you still have not removed enough fat, you simply rinse that ground beef in hot water, let it drain, put it back to your pan. It works like a charm. It doesn't affect the taste of your ground meat, and then you can portion it out into freezer trays, bags, 4 ounces, 8 ounces, whatever you prefer. I like to weigh the whole shooting match before I cook it down. Then you know how many ounces you're really working with raw. So
yeah. And that's such a great tip, Dee. I would have never known that I could rinse my beef and get that off of there, because it really is true. And I find that my clients that eat a lot of red meat do not get the results they're happy with. And so I always say, just eat red meat once a week, make it super lean like a filet mignon, but filet mignon is super expensive, I know, and it's so much easier and simpler and less expensive to have the ground beef. So I love that tip. That's a super tip. Okay, so if you are on here and you want these recipes, all you have to do is type in the word recipe, and they will come to you in your Facebook Messenger. So if you're live, it comes to you a little bit later, so be patient with the process. And so now we have talked about all of these grand, fabulous tips that Dee created. And Dee, tell us how you created this lovely platter.
Almost next week I will have been married for 21 years.
Woo!
And for my shower and wedding present, I'm not a China girl. I have some beautiful Bohemian crystal from Slovakia, from my dad's nationality. But I didn't pick China because I'm not a China girl. I'm like, I'm never going to eat off it. I'm never going to serve anybody off of China. I don't have a it's just not my deal. But there was this wonderful local potter. His name was Dan Taylor, and he made some just gorgeous pieces. And I have an obscene amount of this pottery given to me for shower and wedding gifts. But I also have the most fabulous friend, Bernice. And Bernice is I don't know what you call a thrift shop expert, or local buy and sells. So Bernice brings me Dan Taylor pottery.
Oh, that's so nice.
That lovely centerpiece, dip caddy. So maybe on a normal, you would see the sour cream and the bacon bits and the chives. That's what that reminds me of, your little caddy that you're going to dress your stuff with. It was the perfect caddy to display dips for sharing, or once again, during the day. So there is 3 bags of IP chips there. I mean, I don't recommend you eat 3 bags of IP chips, but if you wanted to, if it was game day and that was your go-to, you could do it. And there is actually very little vegetable content there. So once again, a ton of food, either for yourself, if it needs to be that way, then you go for it, or for sharing. So just a really nice display. And in the land of low carb chips, I actually really do enjoy the IP chips as an option. And just know that even in maintenance, seek and look out for products like that. So instead of saying, chuck it, I'm gonna eat that half a bag of Doritos, don't do it. Don't bring the game size bag into your house, because then that just leads to big game eating, right? So don't bring it into your house. Do the smaller smaller portion.
That's going to be my new term. No big game eating. Yep. I love it. Well, Dee, we've come to the end of our show. It's never enough time. If you guys are watching this live, or if you are in the replay, all you have to do is that there's a couple things that we really would appreciate if you would do. First of all, push the share button, share this out to your clinic, share it out to your friends, spread the love. And would you push the like or heart button? Tell us how much you love us. And thirdly, tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're doing. Are you dieting? Are you in phase 1? Are you on a different kind of program? What's working for you? Tell us what kind of recipes that we can recreate for you that will make you super happy. So I guess this is part 1 of game season. Is that right, Dee?
You bet.
Okay, so next week, part 2 of game season. And if you type in the word recipe, you will get these. If you're live, you'll get them a little bit later today. And if you're in the replay, they come instantly into your Facebook Messenger box. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, Dee, so special to be with you. You're an amazing lady, and I love all your stuff, and you're so inspiring. And I will reconvene with you next Wednesday.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Renee. I think you guys will enjoy next week's starting lineup for the game. They're super strong, super strong.
Okay, bye, everybody.